there's something paradoxical about accepting where you are and to stop striving for too much. You would think the essence of ambition and like a real concentrated strive towards something, like a real will, would create better results. And there's loads of self-help, self-improvement stuff. Like you think about the 10X book by Grant Cardone, or loads of motivational speakers, and the standard self-help stuff, which is like manifest the future and set your goals like really high and 10x anything that you think you can do, and you can achieve more than you think you can in a certain time. And I think the basic essence of it is helpful, but it often feels like you're running up an upwards hill. Like there's a constant battle between yourselves to get yourself to do the actions that equate to the results, and it's like a constant battling, a constant strive it feels like there's a lot of resistance there. And then when you don't hit the metrics, you don't hit the targets, you start beating yourself up, and then you create shame in your system because you're like, why am I not achieving this? I've set these goals, why can't I stick to goals? And then it ruins your self-esteem, and then you get desperate, you get depressed, and then you set higher goals to get you out of this rut you're in. And can you see how it becomes a cycle? And when I say there's something like extremely simple and paradoxical about just accepting your limitations, accepting where you're at. And I can relate this to like an idea or a thing I'm going through right now, which is a lot of change and a lot of different responsibilities are coming through. And as someone who used to train in the gym a lot, who used to like really be on my self-improvement stuff and the standard self-improvement stuff, I really put like an importance on it. Like I wanted to read a certain amount of pages a day. I wanted to make sure I was meditating at least 30 minutes to an hour a day. I wanted to make sure I was going to the gym. I wanted to make sure I was doing this and that and this and that. And then as I've got into a relationship, as I've settled into work more, as my life and my priorities have started to change with different responsibilities, I'm like, I can't do all that stuff. Like that stuff doesn't fit into my routine as easily. It feels like the old version of myself, and it feels like it's too much when I try and do it, and then I trip myself up trying to achieve what I was doing beforehand. But now I've got all these new things and responsibilities that are taking my energy, so my energy is not there to give to the self-improvement stuff that I used to do. And I notice when I do make change, when things start to happen for me, it's when I accept the fact that I have a limitation on my energy and my time, and there's certain things that I want to give my energy to, and there's certain things that demand my energy, and then there's this little bit of free energy, and then I have to choose wisely where to put that, and I have to do it strategically and sustainably. And that being the word sustainable, is doing things in a sustainable fashion, because anyone could do anything for a week, for 2 weeks, but can you fit that habit, can you fit that routine into your lifestyle and integrate it for the rest of your life? And any like of the habits that you think of, like the self-improvement habits like meditation, reading. Meditation's a deep spiritual practice as well, so I can understand why people would give like a deeper inclination and meaning to something that's quite self-introspective like that, because it's more of an observation of the unraveling of the unconscious and watching how the divine nature of who you are can emerge into the world. So I'm not sure if I'd like to put meditation in there, because I feel like it's a bit spiritual in essence in its way. But the self-improvement habits, the stuff that you want to do, like you need to do things sustainably. Sorry, I went on a bit of a rant there. And there's freedom in limitations. There really is. There's a lot of freedom in, this is the only time I have. Like, I have to wake up at 5 a.m, and I've only got 2 hours before I go work. 30 minutes of that is going to be having a shower, brushing my teeth, blah, blah, blah. 20 minutes of that maybe is going to be cooking breakfast. So I've only got like an hour and 20 minutes in the morning. What can I do? What am I going to choose to do? And maybe it's not realistic to go to the gym every day anymore. So how can I progress with keeping my physique progressing? How can I keep consistent with the gym without it becoming unsustainable and me neglecting other things in my life? So strip things back and make them fit into a box that fits into your current life and your current schedule. Same with reading. Say if you're really passionate about reading, but you're just finding that you've got so many different things like taking your energy here and there. What time can you delegate to reading? How can you do it consistently so it doesn't stress you out? And the little habits compound. It's a real like simple idea of compound, the compounding interest effect, or the compound effect of just doing daily things and doing things slow and considerate and deliberate, but making sure they're consistent. And that consistency kind of like it shapes and chisels the type of person you are. But you have to be disciplined and cautious about where you put your energy, because if you try and do too much, you'll get nothing done. And it's a thing that becomes more and more apparent to me the more I develop in who I am as a person, the more I understand a relationship to my unconscious and my deeper self. It's like limitation is freedom, and how you relate to time and energy and your schedule and your own limitations really does dictate your life. And there's a real desperate feeling, there's a real desperate sense of trying to get somewhere, trying to be someone, trying to do something that's all the way up there, that's all the way out there, that's a far reach away. There's some desperation in it. You're like, I need to do this now, and now I need to work out 5 times a week. I need to be perfect with my diet. And it's like, you're not even working out once a week at the minute. Like, you've stopped working out. Why do you have to go from one extreme to the other? Just do things sustainably. And if you do that over the time, you will see the progress. And things are slow and deliberate. And that's how life works. Sometimes life comes with momentum, and it comes at you fast. And you feel like things are ticking, and that's when the motivation comes by, and you ride that wave. But you also ride the wave of the inconsistency. You also ride the wave of the depression. You also ride the wave of feeling lethargic and apathetic. And your goal is to sit back and observe and watch the waves and just participate in them, but stay consistent and stay applying yourself to sustainable habits throughout the dips. And if you're in a motivated state and you want to go to the gym 5 times a week, and for some reason somehow you're fitting all this in, good. But if you're in a time where your energy's being taken and you're feeling a bit lethargic and things aren't going your way, just strip it back to 1-2 days a week and just be consistent with that and just turn up. Because you need to be able to ride the waves. You need to be able to trust the fact that things come and go. Life is always moving. It's a cyclical in its nature. And you need to be able to like compassionately observe yourself when you're in that, and trust that you can still meet yourself where you're at and not put too much pressure on yourself, not stress yourself out too much, because life is for feeling, it's for experiencing, it's for being embodied in the world. And when we've got this conscious idea of who we want to be all the time, and we're like banging our head up against a wall, all it gives you is a banging headache. Doesn't get you any closer to where you're going to get to. You're going to get to where you're going to get to regardless. So stop bashing your head against a wall and just giving yourself a concussion, because it's not productive, and it's the biggest mistake that I think I've made in my life. And I remember reading something. It was a common thing. People on the deathbeds were like, I wish I would have let myself be happier. Like, I wish I would have like stopped stressing so much. And a big amount of that stress is like looking at people and comparing to what they're doing and where I normally are and where I should be. And it's like, no, just meet yourself where you're at. Just be where you are. Very simple in its essence, but just be where you are and do what you can. Slow and steady wins a race. I always loved like the old quotes and the simple ones. It's that they're always very they're very simple on the surface, and they seem very surface level, but then when you break them down and apply them to your own life, you're like, yeah, that was spot on. And slow and steady does win the race. So yeah, people, thanks very much for listening, and I'll see you all in the next video.